So obviously Devin Levi coming down here. Just your initial thoughts on him being with Rochester?
Well, it's an exciting opportunity for him. The NHL sometimes it's hard. It's the ice time, practice time, all those different things. And the beauty of the American League is you have opportunity to work on your game, to grow your game. You get more opportunity in games. You get more opportunity in practices. We get to practice more at this level. So he's a rink rat. He loves being on the ice. He's out there, one of the last guys taking breakaways and taking shots. And, it'll be a great opportunity for him to just grow his game at the pro level.
What can he do to put himself in the right situation to get back to Buffalo?
I think the most important thing any player, and this goes for Devin as well, is to be where your feet are. We talk to our guys day one, especially the prospects, about immersing yourself in being an Amherst. You want to be motivated and driven by your dreams, but you don't want to live mentally where your dreams are. You got to live mentally where your feet are. So be fully immersed in the meetings and the practices and your teammates in the weight room, and just be all in on everything here. And usually if you are, with the talent that he has, good things will follow.
You've worked with so many prospects since being here in Rochester. How important is it to manage their emotions and keep that open line of communication with them?
Yeah, I think that with all players, whether they're prospects or not, the mental state, the emotional psyche of the player impacts their performance in a positive or a negative manner. And the best way to help them with that is to put them at ease in terms of their situation, what their role is going to be, what we expect out of them. And so I think that for me, the more clearly I can provide information of what we're looking for in practice, what we're looking for him in day-to-day, the more comfortable he is, with his teammates, the better he's going to play.
Coach, from your vantage point, I know it's been, maybe 24 hours, maybe even less than that. Just speak on just his attitude surrounding him so far.
His attitude is great. He's a hockey rink rat, right? He loves being at the rink. Whether it's Paul Lewis here today at a practice rink, or it's in the National Hockey League, every time I've been around Devin, what you feel and know is that he loves playing the game. He loves taking shots. He loves playing goalie. So his attitude's been great. We talked last night. He was excited to get down here and get to work with his teammates. I think it helps that a lot of his teammates in Buffalo had been through Rochester. And that's the beauty of building what Kevin Adams is trying to build, is a lot of those guys started here. And they paved their way and they made their success as young pros in Rochester as they grew to be Buffalo Sabres.
Speaking of Kevin Adams, have you guys spoken on
how lot. In terms of the time frame, it's just kind of open-ended right now, right? I think it's really important. Sometimes you put artificial timelines on things, and then you force decisions that aren't the right decisions. So all we're worried about is let's be great today. So for Devin Levi today, let's be great at practice. Let's be all in at practice. Let's have a great practice. Let's have a great lift with our strength coach. Let's go to Belleville on the bus tomorrow. Let's have a great practice in Belleville. Get ready for the weekend game. So I think the most important thing for him to grow his game is to be focused on today. And the more he focuses on today, how long it'll be will play out. And that sometimes is out of your control as an athlete.
My last question, obviously you had a very decorated college career, one of the best ever. What does it kind of speak on, like the nonlinear growth of a goaltender in this sport, where peak of the peaks and then struggle a little bit once you make it to the big leagues?
And I think that, you look at Devin's sample size in the NHL, it's actually been pretty good. This is more probably about playing time and practice time, so he can stay in a rhythm and get a rhythm of pro hockey. And so, but goaltender is one of the hardest positions in all of pro sports. And it certainly is the position that's the hardest in our sport at a young age. There's a lot of forwards that make it at 18, 19, 20 years old. There's less defensemen that make it that young, and there's almost no goalies that make it that young, because all of the responsibility falls to you, and you're back there alone. It's a lonely position, and it's a very demanding position, both physically and mentally. So he's ready for all of those things. It's just right now he needs time to be in the net, to play more games, and to get more practice time.
Go ahead, Dan.
Hey, Coach,
Paul Lewis Arena is awesome. I love it here. It feels like we're back to hockey, but it is cold, so the toque is necessary.
I appreciate it. I want to be careful with how I phrase this question because in the American Hockey League, injuries and call-ups are part of the game. You understand that that's part of the business, and a lot of times you're feeding players up to Buffalo. And this is not a knock at Cooley or Tokarski, but what can Devin Levi, a top goalie prospect, coming down to Rochester, provide a boost for this locker room? Like, it's a player coming down necessarily as most of the top prospects seem to be going up and leaving. Now you have a case where one's coming down to you guys.
Yeah, I think that, number one, I think that I have a tremendous amount of belief in Dustin Tokarski and Devin Cooley. And so that's something that they know how highly I think of them. Tokarski's, probably got near 1,000 games dressed in pro hockey at NHL and American League level. So I think that our guys have a lot of belief in our goaltenders. I think this is an opportunity for us to help Devin grow his game in pro hockey and for Devin to help us try to win games for as long as he's here. That's the beauty of Devin. He's a competitor. And that's one of the first things he said to me is, I want to come down there and help you guys win. And what a great statement by a young prospect in our organization. Not me. I want to go down there and help you win. And that's how he's wired, and that's what we're looking forward to having him do.
And again, I didn't mean any knock at those goalies. It's just a different scenario that you're experiencing here. And off of that, we've always talked about winning and development. You talk about how tough it is to be a goalie. You've been there. You know how mentally taxing it is. How important for a goalie is it to win, to be in the net consistently, and to stop pucks consistently, and to have guys at the end of the game coming up to you and saying, hey, congrats on the win for the development?
Yes. Winning is part of development. We've talked about that over the years. We want to grow that culture, and it had to start in Rochester, and now it's transitioning to Buffalo as well. It's important. Winning is important. And as a goaltender, that's something I've always looked for when I was in college recruiting. What's their track record of winning? Not just what's their save percentage, not do they have fancy stats, do they drive their team to win? Because there's a real confidence gained from goalies from being there in big moments. He's had massive success on the international stage, in college, winning bean pots for Northeastern, things that you take real confidence that you delivered for your team in pressure-packed moments. And so those are things that are hard to replicate. You can't fake them. You have to just live them and go through them and gain confidence from them.
I appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Rachel.
Hey, Seth. Just now that you guys are dealing with balancing three goalies, that was a problem the Sabres had to deal with. And as you've alluded to previously, your job is half development, half winning. So if you could elaborate more on just how you plan to balance that with obviously the job at hand while also keeping your two in rotation.
Yeah, it's always demanding with three, but I think in the American League, your responsibility, I know why Kevin Adams hired me, and it is to develop prospects for the Buffalo Sabres while also trying to win in Rochester. Now, we've been able to do a pretty good job of that a lot of the last 2.5 years, but it's playing prospects. So Devin is going to get a chunk of the games moving forward. That is my responsibility to our organization, and he's a great goaltender. So that is hard when you're a Tokarski or a Cooley. It's a difficult situation, and the best way to handle that as a coach is to be completely honest and transparent about the situation. But this isn't it's bigger story because it's Devin Levi and it's a goalie. But there's times last year that Mason Jobst was our first line center in the playoffs and led us to within one or two games of the Calder Cup finals. And we healthy scratched him probably 7 or 8 times last year because prospects needed to play. And I'd just be honest with him. That he's not getting scratched for his play. This is where we're at as an organization right now, and my job is to win while playing our prospects. And everybody knows that's our situation, and I think the best way as a coach is just be honest with your players about it.
Absolutely, and obviously, Devin, coming from the NCAA then into the NHL, I think the A schedule will be a lot more beneficial to him and the type of scheduling he's used to. More specifically on that workload, do you anticipate him? I know it's early. Do you anticipate him playing this weekend?
He will play this weekend, 100%. What games, how many games, all those things still to be determined, but he will play this weekend. And yes, I think the biggest thing, and games are important, and we play 72, the Sabres play 82, but practice is important. And when you're a really young player, it's maybe a little less important when you get older, but when you're a really young prospect, like we have so many, practice is important because practice is where your habits are formed. That day-to-day work that you put into the weight room, in your preparation, on the practice sheet. And we just get to practice probably 3 times as much in the American League as they get to in the NHL because the pace of their schedule. So it's going to be really healthy for him for not only to play the games, but to get the amount of practice work he's going to be able to get here.
Absolutely. And a non-Devin question, have you gotten any chance to see any of Kulig or more so Roseanne's tape from the weekend?
I watched a bit of the Jersey game, which obviously wasn't pretty. So bummer that that's their first game. But before our game, we started at 7:15 that night, and so we had it on. We were streaming it, and we were able to see them come out for their dual solo lap, and I enjoyed them passing the puck to each other before they shot, and it's just neat to see them. It's always fun to see it. It's really neat to see them do it together because of how good of friends they are, how much they've went through together over the last 15 months. So hopefully they'll continue to earn more and more ice time, but I'm certainly proud of them and excited to watch them going forward.